back to resilience. I'm John Biggs. Today we have Arthur Dubois. He's the CEO of Grid Aero. Grid Aero is it's another logistics company, but you guys are doing your own airplanes, autonomous airplanes, right?
That's
Or
right.
drones, I
Yeah.
suppose you could call them.
Yeah.
But it's a big guy, right? A big one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's what you'd call a Group 5 UAS. So it's a multi-thousand-pound aircraft designed for long range and pretty heavy lift.
Okay. So why don't you describe it? Well, I think we're gonna have a little bit of video, but why don't you tell me a little bit about what you guys are building?
Yeah, for sure. So we're building basically, you could call it a really large drone or a small autonomous aircraft. It's designed to carry thousands of pounds for thousands of miles. It looks like an aircraft. So from the outside, you won't see a cockpit or anything, but it's got a wing, it's got two engines, it takes off like a normal aircraft. But the difference is that it's incredibly simple. It's really just like this super bare bones aircraft that's designed to carry pretty heavy payloads in the middle of nowhere, thousands of miles in the middle of the Pacific if you have to. And that's really where the innovation comes in on the logistics front, is this combination of low cost, pretty big aircraft that can fill a logistics mission that previously only was filled by manned aircraft.
So these things are the interesting thing is you don't need anything on board to make sure that humans can survive, right? So it's basically just an empty shell with whatever your telemetry system is.
That's right. Yeah. And basically, specifically as we look at military applications, we want to be in a position where folks can accept this thing going down for whatever reason. So it really needs to be the cheapest possible thing because you really are living with the possibility that this thing might get shot.
So this is going to be an interesting time, right? So we're talking about aircraft that are basically full size, that are flying around with, well, I would assume that other commercial and passenger aircraft as well. What are you guys doing to control the risk there? Or is this designed just for a space where there's already plenty of risk?
Yeah, so the first thing to do, right, when you look at these operations is on day one, you don't go out and fly everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a huge mistake to assume that we're going to fly these over New York City anytime soon. So the first way that we control things is through operations, but really carefully choosing where we operate. So our sort of the places we're looking at first are remote places like Alaska. We have a partnership with an airline up there. Places like the Pacific where you fly over water. So that's one piece. And then in terms of what the systems you put on board the aircraft, it's really just, we have to invest in preventing the failure modes that could lead to loss of life. And for us, this is really just a big investment in detect and avoid systems, which is the one thing we really need to be careful about with an unmanned aircraft is let's not run into an airliner, let's not run into a building. Outside of that, we can pretty much accept other failure modes.
And there's also a mesh aspect to this too, right? So they could communicate with each other as they're flying?
Yeah, that's right. And so you can think of it as there's this big data lake, to use a cool term from area startup world, is this idea that you're pooling all your data, whether that's your sensors, whether that's any situational awareness that you're getting across a network of all these aircraft. And so if aircraft number 25 wants to pull information from the camera on aircraft 2, as long as the bandwidth is available on the network, they can do that. And
the thinking is that these things are pretty much autonomous. You say go from point A to point B, and it's gonna take off, land, and just maintain but it'll also watch out for, I guess, factors in the air as well.
That's right. And I will add that they're capable of autonomy. However, it doesn't mean humans can't interact with them. So to the extent that we can communicate with the aircraft, the human can either just reroute it, or it can even take control remotely to actually fly it if that's what they want to do.
For my money, I've seen a lot of these over the past couple of months, actually. But this one seems like probably the biggest one. And it seems a little bit scary on that front. What do the human pilots think about this?
In general, they think of it from a risk management standpoint. So there's certainly a group of folks that are strongly against just the notion of autonomy in the air. In general, when you talk to human pilots, they understand how risk must be mitigated. So as long as you can have a rational explanation with them to say, so in this situation, how do you deal with avoiding an airliner? In this situation, how do you detect a threat that might be coming in front of you, or a manned aircraft in the way? As long as you can answer these questions and ultimately through your engineering prove that you can demonstrably meet the performance bar that a human pilot would, it's acceptable, right?
Mm-hmm. Are there any differences in an autonomous car versus an autonomous airplane like this? You're obviously flying faster, but I can't imagine there's that many more I mean, you're going to have some kid darting out in front of you if you're driving, but you're not going to have that up in the sky.
Yeah. So first off, I mean, my general answer is I actually believe that in general, aircraft autonomy is a fair bit easier than
Hmm.
car autonomy because of the environment you operate in, right? It's a very controlled environment. To your point, no kid is going to run in front of an aircraft if you operate from airports or remote places. So you're notching down this sort of like unknown factor and you're operating within a more predictable environment. It doesn't mean it's fully predictable, it's just more predictable. So I will say from that aspect, in terms of like the features you have to implement, it's a little bit simpler. The place that's a little different with aviation is sort of the bar that you're held to in terms of performance. And so you're living in this world of like, yes, the features you're implementing are maybe not as advanced as like a Waymo would implement, for example, but you need to really prove out that they perform the way you say they do. And so it's this kind of like quadrant of like maybe medium level technology, but very high performance levels.
Yeah, this is fascinating. How far along are you guys? Do you have clients using these?
No, so we're a year old company. We're in the prototype world right now. We have a full scale prototype that we're currently testing, and yes, we're currently talking to a lot of customers to try to get these in their hands, both military and commercial. But it's on us to do our homework to prove out that this is safe and usable in the real world. And this is effectively what the round of funding we just raised is helping us towards.
Where did it come from?
I think so. Like I think at the core of it, it really comes down to just customer feedback, right? So we didn't start Grid with this idea of like, oh, this is the technology we want to build. We want to do autonomy. We want to do aircraft. I mean, obviously, I'm an aircraft engineer, so I'm a little biased towards this world. But we really didn't want to start the company with a product to then find the customer. It was just like, okay, I had spent years talking to customers. Some of our co-founders had spent years talking to customers, and we kept hearing about this logistics, specifically contested logistics problem, which can kind of be summarized with like, okay, now I'm in the Pacific. I have lots of small units on lots of small islands. There is an enemy that's shooting at me, so I can't really send a big boat or a big aircraft. How do I get them supplies? And so this is the kind of contested logistics problem set that everybody was grappling with at the warfighter level. And when you talk to these folks, it was like, okay, so really what do you need? You need something that can be capable of carrying a few thousand pounds of payload. It's also got to be able to fly thousands of miles, but also it's got to be almost sacrificial. Like if it gets shot, it can't be this expensive, exquisite asset. So once we were armed with like these basic requirements, we went about thinking about what lives at the intersection of all these requirements. And this is kind of how the concept started to come to life and evolved into what it is today, which now it's been obviously elevated as a huge priority. But you can think of when we started the company, it was just like, it was on everyone's list. It's just, it hadn't been made official yet.
How much longer until we see these in the general population flying around?
I think there's a notion of scale. I think my view is that it will probably take about 5 years before we're really visible. It doesn't mean we won't operate before then. It's really just, you won't see it because at first we'll purposely operate in areas that don't have humans. So I would say 5 years is a good reasonable time frame for kind of start of visibility.
Yeah, fascinating. Well, thank you for this. So it's Grid Aero. You guys are slowly but surely rolling out prototypes now. So and we're going to put some video up as well of these things taking off. So it looks really, really cool.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for joining us on Resilience.